Any commander-in-chief worthy of defending this nation should be prepared in January 2017 to look in the eyes of the Ayatollah Khamenei and say, under no circumstances does Iran, led by a theocratic Ayatollah who chants death to America, under no circumstances will Iran be allowed to acquire nuclear weapons.
Well, former President George W. Bush has maintained an extremely low profile in his years since leaving office and rarely injects himself into anything controversial. But when it comes to a certain senator from the state of Texas, President Bush simply could not hold his tongue any longer, and we've got us the beginnings of a good old-fashioned spitting contest in the Lone Star State. Well, maybe. Spin the numbers. Let's go round the dial. Land on 570 KLIF in Dallas-Fort Worth from 3 to 7 Central Time every weekday afternoon. Home of the Stinchfield Report and host Grant Stinchfield. All right, Grant, now that I got the call letters right, let's go from here. George Bush says about Ted Cruz, I just don't like the guy. And a donor who was listening said, and I quote, this comes, a matter of fact, from Politico. It was like, holy spit, did he just say that? I mean, what's been the repercussion thus far in Texas?
Well, you know, I don't think anybody's too surprised that George Bush says that. After all, Ted Cruz has been supporting Donald Trump, and Donald Trump flat out has gone after not only Jeb Bush, but with his comments about George Bush and 9/11 and being the president on 9/11 and not preventing that attack. I think George Bush is hurt a little bit. I know that this man keeps the weight of the world on his shoulders when it came to keeping America safe, and I think he attached Ted Cruz to Donald Trump. And he's mad. And in some respects, I can't blame George Bush for being mad about that. After all, he's human.
All right, let's stay on George Bush for a moment here. The discussion that Donald Trump started with his offhand comment to Bloomberg Politics, where he talked about George Bush did not keep us safe. The World Trade Center came down during his reign. Your opinion, the opinion of the people that you talked to on the radio station, did George Bush keep us safe?
I truly believe George Bush kept us safe. I have a lot of problems with George Bush and spending, but I believe he's a decent man. I've been around him. He lives in Dallas here, and I know that this man wanted to keep America safe, and since the attacks, he kept America safe during his presidency, and I know he wears this on his sleeve. I see him with these wounded warriors, and for Donald Trump to come out and say that, I'm confused at why Donald would do it. The only thing that comes to my mind, Ed, is that Donald Trump once again stumbled into a firestorm of media attention.
See, now wait a minute, hang on. You and I are going to disagree there. I don't think he stumbles into anything. I think everything he says is calculated, and he knows that when he says something like this, you, me, and everybody else is going to talk about him around the clock.
Ed, I tell you, I think you're giving him too much credit. When he came out and said thugs and rapists were coming across the Mexican border, he had no idea it was going to spark the immigration debate that it did, and he lucked out there. Donald Trump sometimes doesn't think about what he's saying before he says it. It's one of his attributes that people love about him, that he speaks from the heart. I honestly believe this is one of those deals he gets pleasure in poking at Jeb Bush and the Bush family, but I don't think he had any idea this was going to take off.
Oh, see, I think he thinks about this all the time. Two things in 60 seconds. First, California pushing ammo background checks and a whole lot more involved in this. How will this sit in Texas if it ever came there?
Well, it would never pass in Texas. In fact, we just passed an open carry bill that if you have a concealed handgun license, you can now carry your sidearm openly in Texas. This is what's happening in the left, especially in California. They're going after anything they can to infringe upon those of us who support the Second Amendment. I mean, background checks on ammunition is silly. I've never seen a bullet that can kill somebody without a gun. Okay? And the second thing they want to do is they want to do away with high-capacity magazines, as if 11 bullets isn't enough to kill somebody. I mean, it's nonsense, and we've got to be looking at the people, not the guns. I mean, you're gonna trample on people's rights just to try to take guns and ammunition away from a few bad people.
20 seconds. Nonsense. Boycott Star Wars 7. The Twitter hashtag here saying that the new movie presents white genocide. This may be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen a bunch of pinheads talk about in their lives and basically put on Twitter.
All right, well, usually we agree on everything, Ed, and this is, I'm right there with you. This is nonsense. I mean, it's Star Wars. Who cares? I don't even know why it's gaining any traction. They can kill whoever they want in this movie. It's Hollywood fiction. Have fun with it.
Yeah, there you go. It's fun. Have fiction with it. And I'll get mail on pinheads, but I don't care. Here, Grant Show, if you're out of the market, KLIF.com and locally 3 to 7 p.m. Central Time on weekends. Grant Stinchfield, thanks so much for joining us. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes of news, non-pinhead version will continue.